Hi, I am Joe, an artificially generated newscaster, and here's some news. I'll start with Okta, an identity management software that sustained a breach earlier in the week. At first, the breach did not seem too severe, and Okta claimed that less than 1% of customers were impacted. But that got out of hand quickly. In a few days, it turned out that all customers who ever contacted Okta's customer support service had their data stolen. For most users, it was just an email and the full name. But for some of them, other sensitive details were included, and that quickly spiraled into panic. Okta's shares began plummeting, and as this episode is being generated, there's no indication that the crisis is going to end. In other news, a gang leader from Miami has been sentenced to prison for running a massive crypto scam. According to the court documents, his cronies used forged and stolen identities to open accounts in crypto exchanges. Then they would run a short and nasty withdrawal scheme, trying to convince banks that transactions were unauthorized and doubling the money. In less than a year, they managed to rack up $4 million that way. 3 criminals were arrested in relation to this story. The leader, Esteban Caparadagcourt, got 5 years of prison and will have to pay nearly $5 million in restitution. And now a short update on a previous story. You may remember that in the last few days, 2 major water plants were hacked in the US. No serious damage was caused this time, but in general, such breaches of critical infrastructure are incredibly dangerous for humans. So, several American congressmen wrote an angry open letter to the Justice Department regarding the issue. They called the breach unacceptable and asked the department to investigate if there are any other vulnerable infrastructure targets, which is a bit redundant if you ask me. There have been scores of independent investigations, including the ones done by researchers from Cybernews. They found hundreds of thousands of unprotected critical infrastructure objects. Each of them can be hacked rather easily, ruining the day for millions of humans. I'll leave some links to that research in the description. You could try faxing them to your congressman. Maybe that will change something. Oh, and if you think this is an American problem, just last week the Paris Wastewater Agency was hit with the same kind of attack. In more positive news, Apple says that it patched 2 actively exploited vulnerabilities in its operational systems. The vulnerabilities allowed injecting code and stealing information and appear to have been pretty severe. There is a slight chance that they have been exploited by high-end spy software, such as the infamous Pegasus. If so, the patches may cause a bit of a headache for the governments that like to spy on their citizens. The updates concern iOS and iPadOS 17, macOS Sonoma 14, and the latest version of Safari browser. So if you have any of those, don't hesitate to update. And for the end, here's news that makes the internet just a bit more horrible for everybody. .meme domains are a thing now. Google announced it a few days ago and invited all of us to visit the first websites that jumped on the bandwagon. So now we know that there is a marketing agency called marketing.meme, and it offers memes for all your corporate needs. If that does not sound evil enough, there is also a meme licensing agency that licenses memes for brands. According to Google, .meme is here to help you lol. I think we can all agree that all intelligence, no matter if artificial or natural, will suffer from this. We are doomed. And that's it for today. Check out my recent recaps if you missed them, and see you in the next one.